yoga has a stabilizing effect. One of the things that it brings about for everybody who gets involved with it is emotional stability. Basically, people don't freak out quite so easily. And so one of the things that drives people to, you know, their addiction is because of emotional disturbance. So one of the difficulties with addiction is keeping stopped, is no longer getting involved with the substance. So yoga, I've seen my students basically feel more stable and more optimistic that they're going to be able to stay free.
So yoga is my step 11, because I'm quite frantic and hectic, and very rarely sit down to meditate. Well, never sit down to meditate. Barely sit down to take time just to kind of be in my day. I go to yoga, and that is my time, and that is time for me to come back down to earth and to come back into my body. And I definitely make a connection with my higher power. I mean, those internal conversations that you have in your head, generally in yoga, those conversations are, at the moment, conversations about gratitude with my higher power. I feel so grateful when I'm doing yoga, like overwhelmed by how grateful that I am that I'm actually there doing it. I suppose it's because I love physical things. I just love that whole, it just makes me feel so good.
As soon as you get into a practice like yoga, you start seeing the glimpse of where you're going to be. Because those few moments that lift you up from darkness into light, from a death-like situation to a life, from total denial to the truth, sets you free.
I think maybe the way that yoga changed me, psychologically changed my mind, my thinking, was that I became more self-accepting, because as I would do the asanas, there were days when I would just really feel wonderful, and I'd feel very elegant and graceful, and I could move my body completely into the place that I wanted to go. And there were other days when I was stiff and sore and I was hurting myself, and I couldn't figure out how to do it without hurting myself. But somehow the accumulation of the experience gave me the willingness and the ability to stay with what I was experiencing and not give up. And there were a lot of days when I would when I was really exhausted and not feeling well, when I would start my practice with Shavasana. I would just lie down and say, this is my practice today. I'm going to lie here. and sometimes after lying there, I would get inspired to lift a leg and do something. But it would start with that lying down and accepting that I was exhausted and not feeling well and not feeling fit. And self-acceptance is one of the primary components of recovery from addiction, because you really have to accept that that you're not perfect. A lot of addiction, I think, comes from the desire or the need to be perfect, and the quick realization that you're not perfect, and therefore you just, oh fuck it, you're just going to go eat something you shouldn't, or you're just going to go masturbate and make it feel better, and just get away from it. And when I'm able to accept myself and accept that I'm not doing well, then the next step is I can usually call somebody and say, wow, I'm feeling really terrible, I'm dysfunctional today. And a lot of times after that sequence of events, the first accepting and admitting where I'm at, and two, reaching out to somebody, and sometimes it's just praying. I'm able to pray now and say, okay, God, help me out here, I'm not doing well. Sometimes it's getting on the phone and asking somebody for help. Through that sequence, so many times my day has shifted within a half an hour things that were stuck suddenly start to flow.
Okay, if I've got a good step 11, which is a conscious contact with my higher power, that has a ripple effect throughout the rest of my life. It means that I'm in contact with that higher power, therefore I'm much more ready to hand my will over. It means I'm generally much more calm because I've handed my will over, so it doesn't really matter what I do with my day, it's already preset. And I just generally have a better day.